Welcome to RetroQuest, my retro video gaming podcast, where I force my son to play old video games. I am your host, Joystick Cowboy, and with me, as always, is
Teenage Prodigy, everyone's favorite
Taco.
co-host.
Yeah. I feel like I had something I was gonna say and I forgot at the last minute.
You always have things there.
Well, welcome to our show. This is RetroQuest episode 13, the Magic of Sheherazade.
We're 13 episodes in already?
Correctly. We are 13 inches deep in this bitch.
Oh, God. Did you know that's a medical condition?
What? Being 13 inches deep in a bitch?
Never mind. Well, yeah. Yes. That is a medical condition.
Well,
if it's over 11 inches, it's a medical condition.
Well, Doc, I'm healthy as a cat.
That's so real, because me too.
Anyhow, so episode 13.
The Magic of
Sheherazade. Sheherazade. So before we get into it, we were on a little bit of a hiatus for a few weeks because we had some big stuff going on. We had Mother's Day, some other stuff, final week for Sako. So in the past few weeks, what have you been up to, Sako?
Oh boy. I did finals for school, and that was all right. I'm pretty sure I passed all my classes, so that's all that really matters. I worked on music. I released A Up, which was really that's been a hit. A lot of people like that one. I've been streaming like incredibly often, like almost daily. And I've gained kind of a little bit of a Twitch following now for that. Other than that, though, just work, I guess.
Well, you also defeated the final boss in your driving test.
Oh yeah, I got my restricted miner's license,
which means he can do errands for me.
Yes,
that's what that means. So what have you been up to gaming past few weeks? Besides this game.
I've been up working, not really COD actually. I feel like normally you're like that and I'm like, oh, I played COD, but I actually haven't played COD in like a week. I've been playing Uncharted, a little bit of Beat Saber, and that's mostly it actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I've kind of touched Minecraft for like a few minutes the other day because I wanted to make like a video on it, but I couldn't think of any good Minecraft video ideas, so I just didn't.
That's real.
But yeah, a lot of Uncharted mostly recently. I give the first game a lot more crap than it deserves, I guess, because like I'm replaying it for my Twitch and it sucks, but it's definitely better than I remember it being.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
All right. As for me, I believe in the last episode I talked about my unhealthy weekend obsession I had with Vampire Survivors.
Yep.
I basically did all the things on that. Well, since then, a few days after that, I happened to be going through my phone and realized that I had it on my phone.
Yep.
And got into a very unhealthy obsession with Vampire Survivors on my phone, which I have been I put a lot of hours into. I'm still just I'm near the end of that fixation. I'm cleaning up the last bit of achievements and whatnot. I got to that. Other than that, basically, it kind of fell off Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for a little bit.
But you're playing it again today?
Jumped back onto it. Yeah, I jumped back into it about a week ago. I got really back into it, and the first parts that kind of rubbed me kind of seemed like they were going in a direction I didn't want to go into, and then I got a little farther and realized I was mistaken. And I really, as far as I am right now, I really like the direction it's going in. Although relatively speaking, I am very early in the story of this game, even though I'm like 35 hours into the game. I'm like
Yikes.
I'm just barely on the boat leaving Junon. So
And folks, this is what
um
we call a mega yikes.
yeah, I'm just gonna really dig in that game. Dabbled in a few Fallouts here and there, not really anything serious. But honestly, the past 3 weeks it's been Vampire Survivors on my phone and um Final Fantasy Rebirth. Oh, I have been playing some Dragon Quest 7 at work, a little bit on my 3DS,
Of course
but
you have.
not much. Not much. Just on, a little bit of downtime I get. But that's about it. Other than that, my life has not been different because
Oh, I guess I
my
got the
life
main
isn't
cast finally for my movie. That's a big thing that happened like 2 days ago.
the main cast.
Yeah, it's completely like the main cast is finished.
Nice. Well, that's good to hear. Good to hear. Good times. Love to hear it.
But yeah, other than that,
All right. So other than that, I guess let's get into it, I guess, shall we?
we shall.
6 minutes of pregame, I guess,
6 minutes
wasn't
of pregame is
much.
crazy.
Hey,
Why would you
we had
say it like that?
3 weeks off. We don't got shit to talk about on here.
I mean, I have
God
plenty
damn.
to talk about, but nothing that pertains to this podcast.
Myself as well. Myself
I
as
could
well.
definitely drone on, but I'm not going to for everyone that's listening's sake.
Well, all right. We'll talk about this game. So, the Magic of Sheherazade. So I guess talk a little bit about my. Actually, Sago, tell me your first impressions of this game, or tell me your
Dude, this is a
thoughts.
new format, having me go first.
Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so first picked this up like 3 weeks ago, so it's a little hazy now, but I picked it up, and the first thing that I noticed was how stereotypical the music was of like games of this type. Like this was supposed to, like this was very clearly so like inspired by like those games where it's like a desert level in any game, and
Yeah.
you know how it's like that very. I'm trying to think of how to say this without like bringing the wrong kind of attention to myself with it.
Arabian.
Yeah, it's a very Arabian feel to the music. And
Yeah, well, I mean that's kind of the theme of the game is kind of an Arabian themed
yeah,
game.
but like I'm talking about when I first picked it up. Like when
Obviously,
I first picked it up, like I was just like, oh, I feel like I'm about to go storm through a desert and try not to like starve to death because that's just like the kind of music that you like get in like desert levels and games and stuff, you know?
because the whole game is the desert level. Well, not necessarily
Yeah,
at
no,
all in any way
yeah,
whatsoever.
that was
But
very incorrect.
that
But
was a quick assumption that is wrong.
so
That
I
yeah.
kind of I got into it a little bit, and I got reasonably far without having to use a guide. I got to like halfway through chapter 1. um but like it was a weird curve. It felt like going back to Dragon Quest in a weird way. Like
Okay,
it,
I can see
it
that.
felt like going back in time, like, and I had to like learn that learning curve of if I want to do this, I have to switch to this, and if I want to do this, I have to. Whereas like I'm so used to now, like that's not really a thing, right? You can just click a button and it does it, but like there were limited options. They couldn't give you like combos to do specific things. They had to make it so you can switch between actions, and that's just like I'm not super used to that, so it was a bit of a learning curve, but once I got used to it, like it was very easy to function.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, so let me talk a little about my history with the game, like I normally do. So I remember having this game somewhere around second or third grade. Um, I rented this game for like a week. I remember I rented this game longer than I rented other games usually. So it must have been like a week we didn't have school or something, and my mom rented me this game for like the whole week or something. I remember getting this game, and now I was real young at this time, and my memories of this game are that it was like the Arabian theme really caught me. I thought that was fucking cool. I was into like Prince of Persia and shit at the
That
time. So
checks out.
um I thought it was super cool. It gave me vibes. I didn't realize why at the time. Now I do, but it kind of gave me like just slight vibes of Mario 2, if you know what I'm
Yeah, yeah,
saying.
yeah. I got you. I got
Um
you.
so I really liked the theme of it, and then I was at that time I was just my budding interest in JRPGs and RPGs in general. At that time I think I'd even discovered D&D. I was like, "Oh man, this game is cool. It's super deep, it's complex, it's got these, time travel." And I when I was a kid, I don't remember how far I got. I remember I got decently far in the game, but I at the time I just thought I was hitting brick walls because it was too complex. There was too many things going on. I couldn't figure it out. It was too much back and forth time travel, just and it always just stuck in my mind. I never returned to it ever really. Um Maybe if I did, on an emulator play it for 20 minutes and then, jumped onto something else, but I always just stuck in my mind as this really unique, interesting, complex fucking game, and that's how it always stayed in my mind. And that's I had heard someone mention it on a podcast or something before our last episode, and that's why it was kind of in my mind.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I um, kind of why I picked it because it was just in my mind. I was like, my thought process was kind of like, oh, well, I just want to see what Sako thinks about this crazy, cool, interesting game that I remembered, and that is my history with it.
All right.
And now we can talk about my present with it.
And yeah, because this is so that
First
means
was
this is your
a
first
little bit of
time.
history.
Does that mean this is your first time ever beating it then?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So, a little bit of history. The Magic of Sheherazade is a game for the Nintendo Entertainment System released by a company called Culture Brain, and it was released in 1989. And it was based on a game that came out on the Famicom in '87 called Arabian Dream Scheherazade, however you say that.
Okay.
Um, and it was considered pretty innovative for its time because it kind of mixed that adventure and role playing kind of turn based and real time fighting mechanisms. Like the action RPG and the JRPG. Um, Now the original Japanese version of Magic of Sheherazade is supposedly significantly different than the one we got. The music, the graphics, and the regions are supposedly different. So I don't know the differences if it's harder or easier here.
Probably easier.
Um,
That's a very big theme when it comes from like games here versus the same game in Japan.
yeah, and I'm gonna assume the graphics are probably more like anime looking ish, but I don't know. So,
It's funny that
and
you
the
say that
story
because
is,
thinking about it, the graphics on this game are definitely very American.
yeah, they're not anime aesthetic at all. Like they look um like it was developed in
Cartoon.
America or Europe or something, right? Anyhow, so the story is you have to rescue Princess Scheherazade from the evil wizard Sabaron, who summoned a demon Gagorga or Garaga or something like that. And you play the hero
Dora
named Ben,
Dora?
who's descended from the I don't know. Dude. You play Ben, who descended from the great magician Isfa, that's the one who successfully like defeated Sabaron back in the day, and you're like his defendant. The only thing is you got fucking amnesia. So you lost all your that's like the shittiest fucking story what's it
That's such a
called?
trope. Oh, you lost all your memory?
No, not a like the staging device for his like lost all his abilities. He's this great, crazy, powerful thing, wizard person, but he's got amnesia, so he doesn't know none of his shit. Because
Yeah, that's a
that's how
trope.
magic works, all on memory. Um, so you gotta uh rescue Scheherazade and her father, and then I think her sisters. Does she have sisters too?
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
rescue.
yeah.
Okay, and then you get like a whole shit ton of NPCs, which was like what a big thing that stuck in my head when I was a kid. I was
Like
like,
15
man,
of them,
you get all these crazy,
I think.
crazy NPCs. Um, and yeah, so let's talk about the game. So in this game, you run around the overworld. You basically each chapter has a time door. So at some point you complete some stuff in the present, and then you have to go through time to the past or the future, complete a quest there, and then you're done. Or you travel back to the present, and sometimes you have to resolve it there. It's not really complex as I thought it as a kid. It's pretty simple. You go to the chapter, do something, travel through time, do something, travel through time, do something, complete the chapter. You know, you do get a lot of NPCs, and some of them are kind of um abstract how you get them. But I'm just gonna lay the cards on the table right now. I don't fucking like this game.
That's yeah. I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I hate to say it. Like
I do not like this game. Like, I don't know what the difference is. I found it playing this time incredibly simple. Like, I was like, oh, this is gonna be, I found it tedious, simple and tedious. I hate the battles. I hate or the not the third person, but the turn based battles. And I'm a guy who likes turn based battles. As a matter of fact,
I skipped
um,
all of them.
the reason
I never
the reason
did
I
you.
love fucking Dragon Quest so much is because they've always kept it turn based. Like, I'm a person who likes turn based battles, but these were fucking slogs. Like, they took so long for you to attack the other guy to. I mean,
Everything in this game
and
took
then
so
they
long. Even playing on the emulator, having everything sped up. Everything in this game took way longer than it needed to.
it did. And my God, I feel like this could have been a great game. If you would have taken out the turn-based battles, I think this would have been a very reasonable, action RPG kind of game. Like, there are some cool things in this game.
Oh
There's
yeah.
some things they do here that I really like, like your class, how you can kind of change your class at any point in time. You can go to,
For a
the
price, of
guy
course.
in town and you can change. Yeah. But I mean, sometimes you can be a fighter, sometimes you can be a magician. I
Sometimes
don't
you
really
need to change
know.
it too, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, there is a couple times where you have to change it. And that's cool. I like that. I like you actually, you get your one person, but you do get to change your class a couple times.
Which is a
A
lot
little
more realistic
rudimentary,
than
but
being like let's be honest, anybody can earn any trade in real life. You don't have to be a mage for your entire life. I like that idea.
yeah, I, I do like that. That's kind of, D&D esque. Like,
Yeah.
class changing and dual class and shit. I mean, I like that. I think that's cool. The different NPCs, I found that kind of cool. I found but the shitty thing is because you only really utilize your buddies in turn-based battles. So they only really battle in turn-based battles, other than story, plot
Yeah.
reasons.
Other than when it's just a brick wall that you can't progress without them for no reason.
Yeah, either they're a key that opens a door for you to progress a story, or they help you in turn-based battles. Well, I hate the fucking turn-based battles, so it makes all these cool fucking characters that I'm collecting that have all these cool fucking, stories, and like the weird robot dude with the mustache. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh man, these are cool fucking characters. But in order to even use them, I have to use this very fucking just. Oh, I hate the turn-based battle
Horrid
system so
turn-based
bad. Like,
battles.
you can create formations, and you can. There's so much to it, and I feel like if it wasn't so slow and just so unfun. I find turn-based battles fun in JRPGs. Like, that's one of the biggest things I like about JRPGs is turn-based battles. But this game just fuck, man. I don't know. It's just something about the pacing of them, and it seemed like some of the enemies were just damage sponges. Like, it broke up the system. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of the action RPG elements because they were still kind of hit miss. But God, those turn-based battles. What was your thoughts on that?
I did not like them. Um, if you remember my whole thing with Dragon Quest, one of my biggest irks with it was turn-based battles. I'm not a big fan of them. Never have been. um, like you can skip. Like there's never a time where you can't skip a turn-based battle, right? You can. Like there's none of them that are required. So I did 2 in this entire game. Like,
Yeah, me too.
like if it wouldn't,
I skipped them, but that made me fucking sad. Just like now like skipping a huge part of what I originally, as a kid thought was cool about this game because that is what I thought as a kid. I was like, oh, this is a cool. There's at that time I loved turn-based battles. And I was like, oh, it's an action game with turn-based battles randomly, and now it was probably one of the worst things in the game for me.
and I'm willing to give it to the leeway where it's like maybe you liked it more as a kid because you didn't have all the games you have now where like things just happen. Maybe this game took up a lot of processing power and it just needed a lot of time to load. I'll give it that.
I mean,
Maybe
that's
that was
true.
the case. But if it's so slow to the point where your game feels unplayable, like if I can get up, go to my fridge, get a drink and come back and still be waiting for something to load, your game's too slow. I don't care what system it's running on, what hardware it's running on. If it's built for that hardware, it should at least be able to load in a reasonable amount of time. You built it for that hardware.
Or at least be able to like press a button and skip, kind of skip through the text. Kind of like even in Final Fantasy 1, it was kind of slow too, but you could like just skip through all the text of the battle
Yeah.
and it sped it up a little bit. This game just wasted so much time just being slow. Like it would write the words on the screen slow. It just did things slow. It's like why? Why couldn't we just do this faster? Even like you said, using fast forward while playing the fucking game. Like, this is a game you could actually reasonably play on fast forward for the most part because it runs so slow. Maybe not the action, the fighting segments, but
Even those,
even some of
no,
those you
yeah,
can.
because even most of those, like, there's not a single fighting segment I encountered where I couldn't just get in the corner of the screen and hold down like the turbo, A, and just kill every enemy that came in my direction. There wasn't a single time where I
Yeah.
couldn't do that. This game is way too exploitable. Like, I see what it's going for and I like it, but like the execution is just too it's too exploitable. It's too slow. It's not worth it.
Like if they took out the turn-based battles and just made this an action RPG, like I said, it would be reasonably good. Like the story is all right, some of the other systems left in there, like changing your class, maybe if you could recruit your partner and then they just kind of are on screen helping you fight, like
Yeah.
that'd be cool. Like like the little raccoon person could like fly around and do her thing, and the gun guy could like just kind of manhandle people. I don't know. He's not a gun guy. I think his name is like Gun Mech or something. Right? His name's Gun Mech.
You, that's a great question. What is his
I think
name?
his name's Gun Mech, but he looks like a fucking like a um what am I thinking of? Like a stereotypical like suburban dad head on top of a robot body.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. That's so funny.
But yeah, I mean, but and even so, or they could have taken out if they really, taken out the third person action fighting segments and instead just made it turn based battles, you know, made them just a little bit faster. I could see that working as well.
Yeah.
But it's like they got two of the working halves of something, but when they put them together, they put them together broke.
Oh yeah. That's for sure. This game
Because
has potential. It had like
this game has all the ingredients of like a really good game.
it just
They
doesn't
just
put them
fumbled it
together
in the
right.
execution. Like they had all the right pieces,
Like I would
like the
love to
graphics.
see
Like yeah,
the graphics
the
are good.
graphics aren't
No, the
great,
graphics are
but I
pretty good.
like the graphics.
Like the graphics are perfect for what they're trying to be.
Exactly. Like I enjoyed the graphics. Like they weren't horrible. Like they were nothing to write home about, but they fit the theme and they like I actually like some of the designs, especially
Yeah.
of like the NPCs or even the your allies.
Oh yeah, I liked
I thought
most
so,
of the designs I really liked.
like most of the allies that joined you, and that's what I know, made me fucking sad because all of these cool fucking like people on my team that I get a fight with, I'm skipping all the turn-based battles, so I'm never actually fighting with them. I don't never ever actually get to see how cool they are. I mean, there are characters that I played that I got, and I don't know what fucking clue if they're good or bad or what, because I never once used them in battle, and that's the only time you use them.
Yeah.
Like I know the robot guy is cool because I used him a couple times. I actually used him in battle. I know that big. There's like a genie guy. Is that
I
Farouk?
think so.
Is that
Dude, the
Farouk?
thing is with the turn-based battle, the two I did, I just like did because I was grinding XP anyways. So and the characters were like relatively low health. So I just like picked a random formation and sped through the battle. I didn't even pay attention to who I was fighting with.
You know what else is cool this game does? Is early in the game when you don't have like allies, you can actually go to the what is it, the barracks and recruit like random troopers to put in your team for the turn-based battle.
I
Now see
I
that's
kept doing
really
that.
cool
I kept doing
concept
that
too.
all like for every battle that I did. Like I went to the final one because I played with a guide obviously. So I went and I found the final one on the final map. Because I decided that like the next turn-based battle I went like I wanted to go through all the final turn-based battles in like the final chapter because I wanted to like be like, oh, this is like my final time playing. I want to get the best out of it. So I went and I bought I think 700 gold worth of fighter troopers.
Troopers.
Yeah.
And see that's a cool concept. Like that's actually cool.
The only thing
Like
that
okay,
sucks
you're
is like
just starting off your journey,
they do a small like
hire some.
the way they work like they do a small amount of damage like when you attack then they all attack however many you have and they just do a small bit of damage but they essentially soak up any non-magic damage that would come towards you.
Yeah, they're kind of like fodder for to your vanguard to kind of shield you a little bit.
Yeah,
That's a cool concept. I really thought that was cool. You know, something I didn't use, obviously, because I didn't do turn-based battles, you know? And they did play around with some of the time elements, you know, with those seeds you can plant,
I did.
you know.
It's another one
I
of those
didn't either.
things. It's another one of those
And I'm
things.
also gonna say that I didn't beat the game for this either.
Oh,
This is the first time I did not beat the game.
I
I sorry,
I
Sako.
have a sad confession to make.
I just couldn't.
So my game was broken actually at the end. Like I spent a bunch of time. It wouldn't load the final boss battle, so I technically didn't beat it either. I got all the way up to the final boss battle and I did everything I could. Like I restarted the game. No matter what, it would not do that final like boss battle. Um, Obviously I didn't restart from the beginning, but like I
I
reloaded the game. Like it wouldn't do the final boss battle, so I had to watch a video of the final boss battle.
okay. I couldn't push myself through this game. Like I kept trying. And the last level I beat, I think I got to like the third or the fourth chapter. What's the level where like you go in the future and it's like ice?
I think that's the fourth. I believe.
That was the level that was the one I gave up on. I just found it too fucking tedious.
That's fair.
I was getting hit with fucking random turn-based battles and I I just couldn't care less about this fucking game. I'm so sorry. I feel really bad that I didn't beat it. Um, I even had to force myself to watch the fucking to watch the fucking to watch the video of it. Like I kept like losing interest through the video and like
I
being
can't even say
distracted.
I
Like, oh fuck,
blame you because
I
like
c- I can't even keep watching this video. Like,
the whole thing that pushed me through it,
like
I was like, well, Dad's gonna finish the game, so I might as well too.
I was like, oh, and that's I kept trying to push myself. I was like, oh, just do it. You know, Sako's gonna beat it, and then I was like, you know what, man, life's too short to not play Vampire Survivors. And this game, this game is just too long for me to give a fuck about.
I remember.
I'm sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings that really enjoys this
I
game,
remember one
because I'm
night.
sure there are people out there that love this game.
One night specifically, I remember I was playing with my friends, and this was like when we were supposed to be recording that weekend. So I was like, this was the first week. I was playing games with my friends, and I was like, man, I gotta finish that game. So I hopped on. And I was like, I essentially left my friends to play this game. And I was like, and then that's when I finally started using the guide, and I was like, yeah, I'm not beating this tonight. There's no shot.
Yeah, every time we were like, all right, we'll just do it next week because we had something going on, and we're just like, okay, we'll record next
It was
weekend.
all a
I
cover
was
up.
like, all right, this gives me another week to finally get through this fucking game. And then every time I sat down and I was playing it on my Steam Deck, so every time I pulled out my Steam Deck, I was like, all right, let's fire it up. And then I just had so many other things that I didn't hate staring at me.
See, yeah, that's so real.
It's hard. It was real
could've played
hard to
Bonanza
fire this game
Brothers.
up when I was just like, I'm like, oh man, like this, like I really, really do regret not finishing it because, um, it is a game that I did cherish in my childhood, so I do have nostalgia for it, even though now I do not like it. I can still think back to how I did like it, you know, and it is kind of a shame. I should have saw it through and I should have beat it, but that this game beat me with its fucking boring ass gameplay. Like, and I think that's what it is. It's just the game is just boring to me.
Oh, that's probably
Like
got to be for every. There's
the
no chance anybody doesn't think this game is boring. Let's be honest.
like
Let's be
the
real with ourselves.
turn-based battles are a fucking slog. There's never when I did do the turn-based battles, there was never any, you know, I
There's no
didn't
reason
really put
to.
any thought into it, and I won them. It was just, they were just drawn out and long. And then the battles where those weird guys jump out at you, and the other things, like they're just too easy, and they're just I don't know. And even the boss battles that I fought were not hard at all. So I think it was uh just this game. Like the shitty thing is there are things I like about this game, but the things that I don't like enough that it makes me not even want to enjoy the things I do like about the game.
That makes sense.
Like you said, the music is decent for what it's doing. The
Yeah,
music is good.
I liked it. It was very desert level feeling, but I liked it.
Like they did the time traveling pretty decently. You know, they didn't overdo it. It didn't overstay its welcome. There wasn't a whole bunch of gold, you know, and that's kind of what I was expecting. What it didn't do was a whole bunch of, um, you know, go forward, do something, go back in time, do something, go forward, do
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
all within like one quest line. You know what I
I'm
mean?
glad that like you generally if you had to go to the past or future, you would only have to do it once, right? And
Yeah,
like generally you could go do everything you need to in the present and then go to the future or the past and then just finish the level there. There were only I think like two
yeah,
chapters where you had to go to the front to go to the future or the past and then come back to the present. Or
yeah.
in
That's
some
true.
cases you could say back to the future.
uh, so like my son, there are lots of things about this game that I do like, but God, the things that I don't like, they just
That's insane.
uh but yeah, like I want to like the thing is I want to like this game. That's what sucks. And that's what makes my feelings for this game kind of just like fire up a little bit more because I really want to like this game. Like because of my nostalgia makes me want to like it. Like that alone makes me want to like it.
Yeah.
You know, the few things they do cool make me want to like it. But then you hit a turn-based battle and you just want to turn the fucking game off and never play it again.
Yeah, it gets rough.
And like I said, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings who does like this game because I know there are people that probably do hold this game in high regard who can look past the things for whatever reason. Like
Lessons blind.
usually the turn-based battle system being slow, I can look past that. I can be like, okay,
Yeah,
it's not the worst thing in the world,
especially
but
since I skip most of them.
yeah, but the fact that they have an alternate battle system, which even though isn't great, is done better. Why the fuck do you have this other shitty battle system in there just to make like I feel like it's just there to like pad the game out.
Yeah, I gotta say I definitely agree
Like
with you there.
like part of me wants to believe that it was done innovatively to shake things up and kind of, you know, add more into it, but I feel like it adds too much and so then it's just a time sink
Yeah, I definitely gotta
unless
agree
you
with you
just
there.
avoid those battles altogether.
That's why I ended up avoiding most of them.
Yeah. If you could change anything about this game, what would you have changed about it?
If I could change anything about this game that would make me like it would probably be the turn-based battles. Cause
Like, would you make them faster or would you just get rid of them altogether?
man, I'd get rid of them. I think because I've given games on here low scores because of turn-based battles before. I have to say I'd remove it. I gave Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest got the low score it did because of the turn-based battles. Was like one of my big reasons. I feel too bad trying to fix the ones in here. Like I've got to get rid of them.
So what you're saying is essentially if a game has turn-based battles, excuse me, you're automatically going to give it a lower score?
No, because turn-based battles can be done properly. I'm willing to admit that. I've seen them done
Oh,
properly.
you're just because Dragon Quest because the battles were so slow.
Yeah, so like
Is that
the
why?
issue
Or
in here was the same issues with Dragon Quest, but like trying to fix these ones feels wrong. I would say get rid of them because honestly, I would
that's
like
hard.
Dragon
That's
Quest
a
more.
hard pill to swallow because honestly, the battles in Dragon Quest One aren't really that slow. Like you get to some other RPGs when they get much bigger. Like even Final Fantasy VII you're playing currently. If you don't turn off the battle animations and shit in the settings, then even just the victory dance or whatever
Like,
takes a good five
yeah,
10 seconds.
but like there's a
So I
lot more
mean,
eye
you
candy
can
there.
mitigate it.
Like I'm definitely willing
Okay,
to
I
admit
get
I will
it.
fall susceptible to that. Like there's a lot more to look at in that. Whereas with these, it's just 2D sprites. They can't do like a super crazy amount with
Because I
that.
mean, we're gonna play like some Final Fantasy games, eventually, and
Because like I'm willing
I don't
to
want
admit,
you to give them low scores simply because of the turn-based battle
well,
system.
no, because I'm willing
Like you
to
gotta
give
look at
a
it.
turn-based battle game a good score, right? If we did
Name a turn-based battle system you like.
Final Fantasy sevens,
Okay,
like
name another one.
name another one. Let me think. I know there's one, but I'm trying to remember the name of it. What's it called? Fallout Tactic.
Have you ever played? Oh, okay, well that's okay. That's turn-based, but that's like turn-based tactics. I mean, that's a little different, but that's
And
kind of the same.
Shining
Have
Force or Shining.
Yeah, that's turn-based tactics as well. That's turn-based, but that's
It's still a
different
turn-based.
kind
It's
of
still a turn-based
turn-based.
system I like.
Okay. I'll give you that. Um,
I like
what was
them
I gonna
moving
say?
around on a little map that you like can interact
Well,
with
yeah,
whoever you want.
that's different. That's a whole different genre, bro. That's turn-based strategy.
Oh well, I
That's
also
not
like
even
that.
considered RPG.
Well, I still like that one.
Like Shining Force and Fallout Tactics. Those aren't considered RPGs. I mean, they have heavy RPG elements, but those are technically in the turn-based strategy genre. And I love turn-based strategy, like Fire Emblem,
You
Shining
didn't ask me
Force.
for my favorite RPG turn-based system. You asked me for my favorite turn-based system. Okay.
Okay, when I said turn-based, I meant like RPG, like turn-based RPG,
I don't know.
like Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy
I
or
would definitely
um.
consider like I know they aren't, but I would definitely consider those games RPGs.
Have you played Mario RPG?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, I have.
See, that's a turn-based RPG, but that has those cool like action elements to it where you can do timed button presses to either help your defense or offense when you either getting hit or you're hitting somebody,
Yeah, I guess I like
and
that
that's
one.
fucking
And
cool.
there's another game like that too that I was trying to think of that has a system where it's like turn-based, but you have like more control to it. Like you can like try to
Well,
dodge attacks and
there's
stuff.
also genre benders. Like there's what are they? The Trails RPG games like Trails in the Sky, Trails of Cold Steel. They are like RPGs, but their battles are turn based. Like like you move around on a little grid.
Yeah,
Like
and
you
that's what
go
I like.
around like a normal RPG, like a normal person, and as soon as you get into a random battle, a grid appears and enemies appear, and you're on a grid and you can move around on the grid. And I fucking really like that.
But
That's an
that's
awesome
exactly
battle
what
system.
Shining Force is.
No, that's different because that's like each map is its own like level, whereas like Trails in the Sky, it's like an RPG, like Final Fantasy VII, like you're running around on an overworld, and then you go into a random battle, and you go into a fight screen, like you don't stay on this, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay,
well,
I
I guess
guess.
you do stay on the same map, but it's not like strategy because like the turn-based strategy game is like the whole level basically is the fight. You know what I mean?
Look, if it has RPG elements, it should just be considered an RPG. Change my mind. If the game is built like an RPG, right? If the boot fits, right? If it has RPG elements to the point where the only thing that makes it not an RPG is how the battles are fought,
Well,
it's an
it's
RPG.
really honestly, if you're gonna be splitting hairs like this, the whole point of the RPG thing is running around, exploring, and talking to NPCs and completing, puzzles and shit. You do none of that in fucking Shining Force.
Maybe I'm not thinking of Shining Force then, because the game I know Shining Force, but I guess maybe I have that confused. Oh yeah, I definitely have it confused. I'm thinking the game where you play as like the dude and you have to like go fight with the rat dudes and like stuff
What?
for the Sega
The rat
Genesis.
dudes.
Well, they're not rat dudes, but they
Yeah,
look
that's
like rat
Shining
dudes.
Force.
That is Shining Force.
That's Shining Force, right? Where you break out of that jail.
No, no, no. You're thinking Shining Force isn't. Yeah, I'm definitely not thinking of Shining Force. Shining Force is the one where it's like one of those like maze games, where it's like you like.
Oh,
Yeah, where like
you're thinking of Shining in the Darkness.
I think so.
Shining in the Darkness, where it's like a first person and you're going through like a dungeon.
Oh, Shining in the okay. I know way too many games with Shining in the first because
But
yeah.
those are all the same. Those are all the same. Those are the same. What's it called? The same franchise.
Okay, yeah.
Like
Shining
Shining
in
in
the
the
Darkness,
Darkness. The very first Shining game was Shining in the
and
Darkness,
that's the one where you
and
go
it
through
was
the
a
map,
first.
the maze,
Yeah,
and
that's a first person dungeon crawler.
and then there's
We're
Shining
going through a
Force.
dungeon in first person, and then there's Shining Force 1 and 2, which are both turn based strategy games where um there is some going through towns and shit, but the basis of the entire like battle is one big map that move your enemies around and move your allies around, and it's like a big strategy map,
Yeah, I was definitely thinking of
and
Shining
that's
Force.
why it's like a turn based. That's different than a turn based like um what is it like Trails in the Sky, because you don't pick your placement or nothing. You just get into a random battle and it's like, okay, you're this many feet away from your enemy. It doesn't give you a whole lot of strategy, excuse me, but just a little bit, just enough to where I think it's really cool.
I
What you were thinking of
I
you
was
played
thinking
Shining in the Darkness?
yeah, but I was
Dude, I
thinking of
played
Shining
Shining in
Force.
the
I was
Darkness
definitely
back
thinking of
in the
Shining
day.
Force at first, and then I was like Shining. That's the maze game.
Have you ever played Fantasy Star?
Yes, Phantasy Star, dude. I not the first one, but I played Phantasy Star 2, I think. Because that was
Yeah,
on the
yeah, for the
Sega Genesis
Sega.
collection. I played that one like
Yeah,
halfway through, roughly.
dude, Fantasy Star fucking 2 is cool, but want to hear a real cool little tidbit is so the Shining series. So Shining in the Darkness was a first person dungeon crawler, and then the second and the third one were turn-based strategy games, right?
Yeah.
Well, Fantasy Star, the very first Fantasy Star, it was an RPG, but most of the game took place in first person, going through like dungeons in first person. And the battles were in first person, like just like Shining in the Darkness. And then the second, third, and fourth games were like traditional JRPGs. I just think that's cool. Like both those Genesis RPGs started off as like first person, first person dungeon crawler ish kind of games.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
See, I'm a lot.
So
You think
yeah.
I don't know anything about old games, and we're over here nerding out about like Sega Genesis games.
Listen, you're my kid. Of course, you know a little bit about some.
I like how one of the big points of this
But
is
yeah.
like, I'm gonna expose you to the wonders of old video games, but like I'm well
I think
exposed.
Yeah, but I think the point of it was to expose you to the more games, not just like you've played old games, but you haven't played these old games.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
that's
you've
fair.
played the mainstream games, obviously, and some games that are a little more niche, but
Like
I think the whole point of this is, and I kind of got off topic a little bit with when I was picking games, because I was just kind of picking games like, oh, I want to see what Sokol thinks about this. Oh, I want to see what Sokol thinks about this. And that's why I think going forward, when I'm picking games for the show, like I first want to pick what I consider like my core games, like my core
Yeah.
memory games that aren't just like, oh, I heard someone talk about Scheherazade on a podcast. I remember playing that game. We'll play that. I think I have a good roadmap for where it's gonna go as
Yeah.
far as the core games, like, and especially the games I had as core games. A lot of them are very niche. A lot of them are hidden gems. A lot of them are hidden turds.
That's crazy.
But they're games that, for whatever reason, they're games I consider core games. And a lot of them I know people never even heard of, or people have never heard good things about. But of course, there are going to be like Mario 3. That's a fucking core game for me. And it wouldn't hurt us to spend a week revisiting Mario 3.
True. That's very fair.
You know,
Love Mario
Final
3.
Fantasy for the NES, that's a core game for me. You know, um, Bart versus the Space Mutants,
Of
not a great
course.
game, but that is a core game for me. It's one of the first games I ever owned. Um, Street Fighter 20, what is it, 2021? I think it's 2021.
Fighter
Anyway,
2?
that game is no. This is the NES game. You've probably never heard of
Yes,
it.
NES.
Most people haven't. Most people haven't heard great things about it. But I say like so. Mostly, we're just gonna focus on NES Game Boy for a while. Get those core games and TurboGrafx. I do have a couple more TurboGrafx games that are in that sort of generation of my life, early gaming. Um,
Yeah,
So and There's a couple. There's actually a couple Master System games. And have you ever played a Master System?
I believe so. I not
You know
very
what
long.
a
It wasn't
Master
my own.
System is?
Yeah, it wasn't my own. It was one of. I think it. Okay, so it was back when one of the few times I ever had a babysitter, and it was over at their house. I played it, and I don't remember the game I played for it, but I remember it was kind of like a really stupid one. Um, I might be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I think maybe it was an Aladdin game. Or like that's just like
Maybe.
the vibe it gave me, I
Are you
guess.
are you sure it wasn't a Sega that you
No,
played?
it was
Like a Sega
definitely a Master
Genesis
System. It was not a Sega Genesis.
with a 2-button controller?
Yeah,
No
'cause
shit, you played a Master System.
because the Sega Genesis controller has 6 buttons.
Well, either 3 or 6. Like
Well, yeah,
it came with a 3-button controller, but you could buy a 6-button controller.
the controller I had for my Sega was a 6 button.
Yeah, but yeah, the Master System was cool. Like the Master System, I knew somebody had a Master. Well, I didn't know that. My mom knew them, but it was like always that weird system because it had like a zapper gun that looked like the zapper gun for the NES, and it had like a shooting game that was. It was like this ain't Duck Hunt. What the fuck is
Yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah. It's called Disney's Aladdin for the and it's for the Master System.
That's the game you played.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got some pretty decent games for the Master System. Like I played it, and that was back in the Nintendo days, and they weren't that bad. They were just kind of seemed a little off brand. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like Alex Kidd was a weird kind of
I
a
love
simple
Alex
game. I
Kidd.
remember playing Alex Kidd. You remember playing Alex Kidd?
Yeah,
Did you ever play You ever play Wonder Boy?
I believe so. That sounds familiar.
Dude, Wonder Boy is like what Adventure Island eventually became. And when
Really?
it turned into like a Metroidvania collectathon, not a collectathon, but a Metroidvania with RPG elements. Like Wonder Boy turned into a whole yeah, Wonder Boy, and then even the Wonder Boy series split off into like 2 different tangents.
No shot. That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know you had any experience with the Master System. That's cool.
Here I am. proving
Anyhow,
that
so
I'm,
yeah,
not as uncultured.
let's wrap up our talk. We got sidetracked because we
Yeah,
got bored talking about this boring fucking
we got too
game.
bored to play it and then too bored to talk about it.
Just kind of ran out of steam. Didn't even finish our thoughts.
We gave
Started
it
talking
20
about other
minutes.
shit. Give it 20. All right, so let's. You have any final thoughts on this game?
No, fix your game systems and I'll like it. Turn it into Shining Force and I'll play.
What'd you think about the bosses in this game?
I like the bosses. We did not talk about the bosses.
I
At
like
all.
the
I like the
bosses,
bosses.
too.
The bosses are actually pretty good.
Yeah, I like the enemy design for the most part for the bosses, but not for the regular enemies. For the regular enemies, I thought it was.
I was cool. I didn't really pay too much.
Are you gonna tell me those weird little guys that run around
I like the
don't look
boxer
fucking
looking
weird?
dudes.
The little guys that you always have from the very beginning of the game that they look like. I always thought they were little Native American like people because they look like they had feathers on their heads for whatever reason.
You mean the little
like,
boxer dudes that I like?
Are those boxers? Is
I
that
don't
what they
know
are?
what they are.
I
That's
thought
what
they
I
were
thought about them as like little boxer dudes.
I thought they were bandits of some sort, but
Well,
I always thought
because they look like boxers to me.
they look like little like I don't even want to say Native Americans because they don't really look like Native Americans except for I thought they had a feather on like their
Oh my
headband
god.
because they have a head like a they have like a headband thing and it looks like they have a feather. So I was like, those are like little Native American. Like it didn't make sense in my head,
You just
and
wanted it to
I'm
fit your
still not
narrative.
exact. Well, there's no narrative. My narrative was these guys have feathers. They must be Native Americans because they're jumping out of the woods and shit.
That
Um, but
that
we're in
makes sense
Arabia,
though,
so that
yeah.
makes no sense.
I get where you're coming
Um,
from though with the idea, that kind of mindset, yeah.
so I don't like those guys. Other than that, those guys bother me every time I freaking see them. Um, I don't have very many positive things to say about this game, and that makes me
My
sad
most
because
positive thing with
this
boss
game,
fights. Not the
this
mini
has
boss
really
fights.
shattered a memory. This has shattered a memory of mine. This is
That
like,
sucks. I'm actually
you
sorry to hear
know,
that. That really sucks.
like revisiting this game not only has made me, not like it now, but I I dislike it so much now that I even dislike it in the past now. Does that make sense? Like,
Young you is now groveling.
because now because I don't like this game, like even my nostalgia is like kind of tainted.
Yikes.
Because when I was younger, I was like, oh man, this is just a really complex game. There's so much to it. I can't wrap my head around it. And now I'm like, nope, you wrapped your head around it. You had it. And even young me was like, there's got to be more to this. But no, there wasn't. There wasn't.
I want to point something out. I love how we started with me talking about how I revisited a game that I didn't like too much when I was younger and I like it more now. And now we're talking about a game you liked when you were younger and now you don't like it so much anymore.
What game was that? Echo?
Uncharted. 'Cause we were talking
Oh
about
yeah, we
Resident Evil,
started
yeah.
talking about it today. Yeah, thought you meant like the show in general, but yeah. All right, let's put a fucking number on this turd. Um, put a bow. See, so 8 bits out of 8 motherfucking bits. How much would you give the Magic of Sheherazade for NES?
Man, I'm gonna have to give this one a solid 3.
I want to give it a 3 too, but really I want to give it a 2.
I was gonna go give it a
Um,
4, but I couldn't justify it in my head.
I like my head is actually saying 3 because it does do some interesting things, even though
Yeah, and that's why I want to give it a
honestly my
4, but
heart,
it's too like it's not executed right.
like I do want to give it a bigger score because of what it tries to do, but because of what it does, I can't. Like I have to give it a 3.
Yeah,
Like and that sucks because there are a lot of ingredients to a good fucking pie here. The baker just got drunk and fucking
that's a new one.
didn't mix them together
Never
right.
heard that expression before.
Right. I make expressions now. That's what I do. I'm an expressionist.
I okay. Let's get you back to the old person's home.
Okay. So out of 8, we both gave it a 3. I think that's about sums it
Our
up
ratings are
for
usually
this
like the
game.
same, unless it's like a game that you really love. Our ratings are like the same.
Yeah, we usually do come to the same conclusions. I'm waiting for that one game that you really like and I hate, or the one game that you hate and I really like.
That was definitely Legend of Zelda 2.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What was my score for Zelda 2
Anyhow,
again?
I think you gave it something stupid like a 6 or something.
6 out of 16, wasn't it?
No, it's an 8-bit game.
Oh, well then 6 out of 8 is
Or
a good score.
Did we do that score? I don't think we were doing that score back then.
Oh no,
I
we
think
did
we
it
did it out of like
Triforce pieces. So there, how many on the Triforce?
no, I don't even think. I think we did the Triforce pieces on Zelda 1. I think on Zelda 2 we did like something stupid probably.
Yeah, we were trying to do like something from each game, like what we rated it out of, but we very
And then
quickly fell off that idea.
Yeah, because it's hard to quantify that like relative to another game. So
Yeah.
um yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, you got some housekeeping to clean up real quick before we get out of here?
Um no, not really. Taco Gaming, Teenage Prodigy, everywhere on the planet.
All right. So,
Just got to decide our next game.
okay, so my next game, I do have a good roadmap, a collection of games. It is
Actually,
summertime now.
do think though, because we're moving back to the every other week schedule, right?
Um, I think we could freeform it where we can at least do it every other week. But if we do hit a game where we both knock it out in a week and we're ready to record after a week, we can do it in a week. So
Because
even if it's a simple game, if we both if it's even if it's a game where you can get it done in a week, um, we could try to put more time in it to really deconstruct the game to get down to what the game is to see if we do like it or don't like it. But if we do hit a game, like honestly, I really wish we could have just got this done in a week
yeah,
because my opinion did not change after a week, and it feels like I kind of just burned time hoping I catch this game, in a different light, and it just never happened.
but
So we can freeform it to where it's every other week, but if we want to, we'll just throw an extra episode in there,
yeah,
Um, so, but I do want to, at the same time, I do want to do those core games,
yeah,
and a lot of those core games are going to be simpler because they're going to be NES games. You can sink a lot of time into them. Some of them are going to be hard. It's going to take you a lot of time to even get anywhere, and um, anyhow,
but yeah, as I was trying to get at, I actually uh
and whenever you do beat Final Fantasy VII, that's an extra episode we can just fucking bust out because I don't need to play that game. I can fucking talk about. I played that game so many fucking times. I can talk about that game at the drop of a hat.
is it my turn now?
You can talk now.
Because after this next episode we're
Also-
doing,
Sorry. Go ahead.
after this next episode we're doing, I'm leaving for a week. Remember?
Oh yeah.
So actually,
So
I leave
hold
before
on.
we would even do that episode. We'd have to do it Friday or Saturday,
Let's see. You leave on what day?
the 8th, and I'm coming home the 14th.
Oh well, we could. How about we just? Okay.
Maybe I could
we'll
pick that
just
game
do
after the next episode.
We'll do a shorter game, and then, or how about I'll just let you pick a game right now, and then we'll do a recording next weekend,
Okay.
and then after that we'll wait 2 weeks, and then we'll do our next game.
Alrighty, that worked.
All right. So what is our next game going to be, Sako?
Oh yeah, I told you. If you've heard me, I've said a few times. I know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be Bonanza Brothers.
Bonanza Brothers
Bonanza Brothers. You ever played it?
for the Genesis.
Yep. So you do know the game.
I don't know if I played it or not. I may have played it on Sega Channel at some point. Is it like Bust a Move? Right?
I
Like
it's I'm trying to think if that's like right. No, not really. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Wait, not at all.
is it what kind of game is it? A side scroller?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's a side scroller, but not the kind of side scroller you're thinking.
Okay, well I'll check it out. All right, Bonanza Brothers for the Sega Genesis will be our next episode.
Yeah. And
All right,
I
so
definitely have this is one I can go on about because I have a big story with like how I know this game and like stuff.
good. All right, so that'll be our next game. So as always, don't forget if you're listening to us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If I can talk, I'm a great podcaster who can't fucking pronounce words. If you're on YouTube and you're listening to us, please like this and subscribe. It helps us out. If you're listening to us on any other podcast aggregator,
It also helps.
Spotify, Apple, there is no a logarithm that drives us. So
You have to
all
share it.
that really helps is listen to us, comment, like us, spread word of mouth is the best thing. Leave us comments, even if you just want to tell us we suck. I know we suck. I'll agree with you. I'll be like, look, this guy is smart. Maybe he should be a producer. Anyhow, yeah, trying to get this thing off our feet. Few people that listen to us do like us, at least the ones that tell us.
Yeah.
You want to reach out to us, you want us to play a game maybe and see how a game you like, see how we feel about it. That's always,
boy.
welcomed as well. reach us on our email. There's a link tree in the description that can get you to
Basically
my
anything of
link
ours.
tree, Sako's link tree, anything that has to do with either one of me and Sako. Hit up our link tree, follow the breadcrumbs, and do something. Yeah. So that's how you support us. And yeah. So until next time, this is the Joystick Cowboy
And his teenage
begging for your
prodigy.
love and admiration. What?
The Joystick Cowboy and his teenage prodigy.
And his teenage prodigy. Signing off with a good old love line mahalo.
Alaverci, or whatever they say in France.